Tales of the Old Stoic. Chapter 3. The Measure of Virtue. The market rang like a bell that would not stop. Bronze on stone, voices bartering, goats bleating where they should not be. Dust rose from the square and hung in the sun as if it meant to become light itself. Near the fountain, beneath a fig tree too small to shade anyone, a craftsman set out his wares: bowls of fired clay, a lamp shaped like a small fish, a cup with a crack he had mended with gold. He was not young. His beard had turned the color of salt at the shore, and his hands were a map of lines you could follow to the edge of the world. His name was Damon. He worked quietly, as men do who have long since learned that noise is not proof of life. Across the square, a runner pushed through the crowd, breathless, waving a strip of purple cloth. Behind him came a woman with bracelets that chimed when she moved, and behind her a boy who looked everywhere at once, as boys do when trouble is near and they fear to miss it. "Stop him!" the runner shouted. "The gold is gone!" The crowd turned like a flock. Words sharpened, faces narrowed. The market forgot its bargains. The woman pointed straight toward the fig tree, straight toward Damon. "There," she said, "he was near my stall." Damon looked up from the lamp he was polishing. His eyes were not surprised, as if he had known somehow that the day would ask this of him. "What is missing?" he said. "A ring," the woman answered, "a signet with a lion." "My husband's. It was on the tray and then it was not. And you," she swallowed, anger rising like heat, "you were there." Damon searched the table with his gaze as if he might find the right words in his bowls and plates. "I do not have it," he said. "I did not touch what was not mine." The runner barked a laugh without humor. "The thief speaks of ownership." Around them, the market gathered itself into a circle. Men with olives in their hands forgot to buy. A baker held a loaf midair and did not notice the dog that took it. Near the edge of the circle, an old philosopher stood with his staff. He had the look of a man who has walked far by, walking slowly. His name was Nicander, though most simply called him Old One, as if age were a proper name. He watched without moving. He had seen truth wear many faces, and he knew it was best to let them all speak first. "Search him," someone called. "Yes," another said. "If he is innocent, he will not fear." Damon lifted his arms. "Search," he said. Hands, eager, curious, rough, found little to answer their hunger: a string to tie parcels, a flint for the kiln, a crust of bread wrapped in cloth. No ring, no lion, only the ordinary life of a man who made useful things and kept nothing he did not need. "Perhaps he passed it to an accomplice," the runner said. "Thieves breed in pairs." A man laughed too loudly. The circle tightened in that way crowds do when they are preparing to be cruel for the sake of being just. It is an old habit of cities. Nicander's staff touched the earth once, lightly. No one noticed. He stepped closer to the fig tree where Damon stood as if a storm had chosen him and he had decided to be a tree. "You said you did not take it," the philosopher said, in the tone men use with rain, accepting, not pleading. "I did not," Damon replied. Then say no more, Nicander said. Truth does not grow taller when watered with fear. The runner wheeled on the old man. And who are you to teach us virtue in our own square? A learner, said Nicander, like you. The woman's bracelet trembled. My husband will return at noon, she said. If the ring is not found, the magistrate will be told. We are not peasants to be robbed while we bargain for oil. Damon looked at her, really looked. His face was a field after harvest, empty, still, but not barren. I will stand here until noon, he said. If the gods wish, let them speak before men do. The crowd did what crowds do when a promise of drama is made. It turned to other business, but not far, never far. Eyes are the easiest part of a body to keep close. Nicander remained by the fig tree. Sit, he said to Damon, and sat without waiting to see if the man obeyed. Damon sat. Do you fear what comes? Nicander asked. I fear my temper, Damon said. I fear that when I am called a thief, I will answer like one. Then do not answer at all, said the philosopher. Let the day answer for you. Damon looked at his hands. They were steady, but not by nature, by practice. When I was young, he said, I would have shouted. I would have thrown my bowls and told the sky to strike me if I lied. It never did. What made you change? Nicander asked. The cost, Damon said. Anger buys nothing worth keeping. A boy, the same who had come running with the woman, crept nearer, curious. He studied Damon as if good men were animals he had heard of but never seen. If you did not steal, the boy said, why do you not chase the thief? Because he is already running, Damon answered, and I have learned not to go where men flee from themselves. The boy tilted his head as if a new word had been spoken and he meant to remember it. He slipped away. The sun rose. A breeze gathered itself from the sea and failed in the square where heat sat like a king. The market resumed its clatter, but around the fig tree a circle remained, a space pressed from the day by accusation, as a bowl is pressed by hands until it holds. At a nearby stall, a potter, Damon's neighbor, pretended to arrange his jars while arranging his thoughts instead. He had known Damon 20 years and had never seen him without clay under his nails. He wanted to speak. He did not. His tongue preferred safety to truth, and such tongues are common, for they rarely bleed. Nicander watched the man's silence. He did not judge it. He filed it with the knowledge that even good men have cupboards where their courage sleeps. Noon walked toward them like a soldier, loud, certain, without apology. The woman's husband appeared, broad, perfumed, a lion in his own mind if not his deeds. He listened to his wife with half an ear and to the market with both eyes. He nodded, he frowned, he pronounced, "Magistrate," he said, "now." The runner dashed off to fetch authority and returned trailing 2 guards and a man in cleaned linen who had learned to keep his expression from having opinions. He held a wax tablet like a small obedient door. "Your name?" the magistrate said to Damon. "Damon, potter, son of no one you would know. You are accused of theft." "I am accused," Damon said. "That is all." The woman lifted her chin. "The ring was on my tray." He was nearest. He is known to be poor, Many are poor, Nicander offered, as one places a pebble on the scale to see if anyone is watching. The magistrate gestured to the guard. Search again. The second search found what the first had found: bread, flint, string, the day's money, a few small coins clay could not multiply. The guard held up Damon's mended cup with a gold seam like a lightning bolt. The crowd murmured, "Gold makes crowds fluent." "What is this?" the magistrate asked. "A bowl," Damon said. "With gold," the guard said, as if nouns were crimes. "A crack mended with gold," Damon answered. "Uselessness made useful." From the edge of the circle, the potter, neighbor, watcher, coward, heard a sentence he had not known he needed. Uselessness made useful. He felt for a moment the weight of his own silence. He swallowed it again. Old habits are heavier than amphorae. The magistrate sighed the sigh of men who would rather be eating. "No ring," he said, "no proof." Yet something was stolen, and someone must be punished, or the market will learn to be hungry for such entertainments. "We could wait," Nicander said, mild as shade. "Sometimes truth arrives late, like a decent guest." "Truth," the magistrate said, "is what keeps men orderly." "Or what keeps them human," Nicander said. The magistrate looked at the old man as one looks at a thorn one cannot remove in public. He turned to Damon. "You will pay a fine for suspicion," he said. "If the ring appears, the fine will be returned." Damon's mouth opened and closed as if mercy had teeth. "I will pay what I can," he said. Before the guard could take the coins, a thin voice slipped into the circle like a thread through a needle. "Sir?" the boy said, the one with too many eyes. He stood at the edge, breathing hard as if he had run only the last step and saved all his breath for this. "Speak," the magistrate said, already bored of whatever courage would cost him to hear. The boy pointed, not at Damon, not at anyone you would expect bravery to be interested in, but at the runner, the one with fast legs and slow honesty. "I saw," the boy said. "When everyone turned, the boy's courage stumbled. Nicander's staff touched the ground again. The sound stood him up. He took the ring. He slipped it in the water jar. I saw. The market did what markets do when a new stall opens with finer fruit. It moved. Heads swung, feet scraped, words fell and broke. The runner's face poured its blood into his throat, leaving the skin pale as milk. "A child," he said. "Listen to a child and you will find yourself in a story without an ending." "Bring the jar," the magistrate said. Two men lifted the clay water jar. The guard reached into the cool darkness and drew his arm out like a fisherman. A ring sat in his wet fingers, a lion with teeth enough for any story. The crowd exhaled as one body caught returning air. The woman's bracelets were silent now. She reached for the ring, then stopped, shame tapping her wrist like a pen. The runner tried to run. The guards educated him in the limits of his profession. The magistrate did what authority must when truth barges in uninvited. He pretended to have invited it. "Release the potter," he said. "Seize the thief." The market is safe, but the market was not interested in safety anymore. It wanted the end of the story, and the end was not in the guard's hands. It stood beneath the fig tree where Damon gathered his bowls one by one, placing each carefully into straw, as if to teach the day how to touch him. Nicander watched the woman approach. Her voice had lost its mettle. "I judged too quickly," she said. "Forgive me." Damon looked up. The kindness in his face made her look down. "There is nothing to forgive," he said. "You were afraid?" The words unmoored something the bracelets could not hold. A tear ran down her cheek with the modesty of water that knows the way. She nodded and stepped back into the market, which was already practicing the art of forgetting. The potter, neighbor, watcher, coward, found his feet walking before his pride could leash them. He stood before Damon and swallowed twice. He did not know how to say what needed saying. Such words are not kept on stalls, and men rarely carry them. "I should have spoken," he managed. "You have," Damon said, and smiled as if the day had finally sold him something worth the coin. When the circle had dissolved like sugar in tea, and only the figs and the flies remained, Nicander sat beside the potter. "You were afraid," the philosopher said. "Yes," the man said. "You will be again," Nicander added, not unkindly. "Next time, be afraid later." The potter took the sentence the way a thirsty man takes water with both hands. Damon tied his bundles. He did not count his coins. He had found out what they could and could not buy. "Old one," he said to Nicander, "what do we call the thing that keeps a man from becoming whichever rumor points at him loudly enough?" "We call it virtue," the philosopher said, "and we measure it by what a man holds to when the crowd lets go." Damon nodded. "I am tired," he said. "Then you have done right work," Nicander answered. They walked together to the edge of the square, where the wind remembered it came from the sea and tried again. The sun had eased. The city had forgiven itself for its appetite, as cities always do. At the fountain, the boy who had spoken truth leaned over the lip, watching coins sleep beneath the surface. "Do they buy wishes?" he asked when he saw the old man and the potter. "They buy practice," Nicander said. "Each is a promise to be better than yesterday. Sometimes the gods help. Sometimes that is their way of keeping busy." The boy grinned, then sobered. "Will the runner be punished?" "Yes," Nicander said, "and he will decide whether the punishment teaches him." The boy nodded as if that answer could be folded and kept. He ran off, light as boys are when they have done something hard and found the ground still holding them. Damon lifted his bundles. "I will go home," he said. "There is clay waiting that has not yet learned the shape it is meant to take." Nicander touched the rim of the mended bowl, the gold lightning like a thought that had survived a storm. "You have shown us a good repair," he said. "A crack honored, a vessel kept." Damon smiled. "We are all vessels," he said. "I am learning where to pour." They parted, one to a small kiln that warmed the night, one to a small room where a lamp burned low and steady. The market sang itself back to ordinary, and if you had stood on the roof of any house and looked down, you would have seen nothing worth a poem. People moving, buying, forgetting, forgiving. Yet the square was larger by one thing that cannot be weighed. It had learned for a breath how to watch a man remain himself. Later, by lamplight, Nicander wrote on a wax tablet, not for the magistrate, but for the boy he imagined the boy might become. Virtue is not what we say when the crowd applauds, but what we refuse to surrender when it does not. Hold to your straightness kindly. Stand without noise. The day will measure you. Let it find you whole. He blew on the tablet to cool the words. Outside, the sea pulled at the edge of the world and let go, pulled and let go, doing what it had always done, keeping time for those who meant to live by it. And the city slept, a little lighter for having seen not justice triumphant, but a man who did not break. End of Chapter 3, The Measure of Virtue, from the series Tales of the Old Stoic. If wisdom still whispers in your heart, stay a while and subscribe for more Tales of the Old Stoic.